everybody. This is Joshua Picklesheimer, sports writer for the Bell Ringer Phoenix Media, with another edition of the Sports Squad from Augusta University's Department of Communication and Bell Ringer Phoenix Media. Today, the Sports Squad will discuss the Augusta University men's and women's cross-country teams, AU volleyball, and the Jaguar men's golf team. Joining the squad today are Bell Ringer sports editor Carlos Rodriguez, as well as Patrick Moats and Rachel Carmen. So thank you, everybody, for coming. Rachel, especially you, since you're new here. I say that we go ahead and get it started with talking about cross-country and y'all's meet that y'all just had this weekend, the eye-opener in Spartanburg. So Carlos and Patrick, go ahead and talk to us about how y'all did as a team and everything that went on over the weekend.
Well, I guess we'll open up with the guys first. Mm-hmm. I would say it was a pretty solid race. So we had for those who weren't listening like last week or didn't catch that one, so we raced against some pretty good Division I teams. We had Clemson and Furman and Liberty there, who all have really respectable teams. And the meet was very competitive. Fortunately, we got blessed with some really nice weather. And our guys were clicking that day. It was a lot of fun. It was good to get back out there again. And I was just happy to just be racing again, and such a fun course and stuff like that too, because we hadn't been there in a couple of years too, so it was good to see it again.
Yeah, unfortunately I didn't race, so I mean that kind of stunk, just like not being out there. But it was cool seeing them work together and stuff like that. They had a really good top five going, and I think that's what really helps out in the long run and stuff like that, because the top five, Avery James finished first on the team, ran 25-21. Patrick was right behind him, 25-23, and then behind them, so Avery finished 22nd, Patrick 23rd, and then we had guys finish 26, 27, 28. So that's a really good top five, being super close by, because that's what you need, when you want to score low and stuff like that. So those other three guys are Brandon Martin, Jordan Robertson, guys that we talked about that transfer from Emmanuel, and then Thomas Richard was fifth on the team, and I thought he did really good for, not many people know, but he got in a car accident the day before the race. So,
wow.
So be able to still race and stuff like that. He wasn't unsure if he was going to race or not the day before, just because, his knee was sore and stuff. But I thought they did really well working together. We had a couple freshmen that did really good. Sophomore Andrew Cole had a really good race too, went sub 26 as well. So I thought it was a really good overall performance seeing them, work together. But like I said, not being able to race with them kind of stunned, just because I knew I would have been able to work with them and stuff. But I think they really look good out there.
Yeah, the course felt different than like when we had went there my freshman year. It felt faster, and maybe that's just years of development, but it felt better too. But it was fun. It was like a good kind of fun. Like, I think first races are always the best one, especially just because they're a rust buster and there's really no pressure to take off and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would say, I feel like in years past, like some of our season openers haven't been as fast as that, like time-wise. Like when we went there 2 years ago, Kai and Hans were seniors, and I think they might have ran like 25-40s, 25-50s, and we had 5 guys run faster than that. So, that just tells you, how the team is progressing and stuff like that, and how good of an opener it was for us. And I also think that deals with the competition, because when we went there 2 years ago, Kai won the race. So, he didn't have nobody to chase in front of him and stuff like that. But this time, having 3 Division I teams that beat us with Liberty, Furman, and Clemson, I think it just made the race a little bit more competitive, because 2 years ago we put 7 guys in the top 10. And for the top 10, they give out free T-shirts, so we didn't have any guy in the top 10 this year. So I just shows you how competitive the race got from 2 years ago to this year. But
half that was just freshmen too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, Patrick was a freshman when we raced that 2 years ago. So we had like 3 or 4 freshmen get top 10 that race. So this year was a different story. We kind of knew that going into it too, though, seeing the competition and stuff like that. But no, I think overall it was a good race, and I think it just kind of prepares you for that next race, because we know the next meet in Huntsville, Alabama next Friday is going to be even a faster course. The Division I competition again, you got teams like Alabama, Ole Miss, Auburn. Not Georgia, unfortunately. Like I said a couple weeks ago, I wish they were going to go, but they're not going anymore. But so it'd be cool. I think even more faster times. I wouldn't be surprised if guys are running a minute faster than they did last week. So it'll be cool to see that. But now even going to the girls, though, the girls did good too. They placed 8th as a team. Madison Kennedy was the first girl to cross the line, and she almost PR'd by a minute. I saw her PR from last year in college. Obviously, she ran faster than high school, but last year she ran 20:03, and this race she ran 19:11. So to do that, offer.
Where did she run the 20:03 at?
Conference.
And I feel like Spartanburg is just as bad as comparable to our conference course too. So that's really good.
Yeah. So it just shows you like the progression. I think the girls team did really good at one of their best season openers. Yeah, they got 8th, but I still think they look really good. I mean, they had 4 girls go sub 20. You know, freshman Maria Biondolillo ran 1926. So, you know, she was second on the team, and you know, coming in as a freshman and being second on the team right off the rip. She had a good time trial too a couple weeks ago. So I mean, she's had a really good start so far. And you know, Grace Gallego, she didn't run at all cross yet last year, so this was her first cross race. So I mean, that was a good race for her again. 3rd in 1943. Caroline Pierce 1959, and then Riley Triplett was the 5th one in 2009. And Riley's a girl that could easily be the number 1 on the team. So I mean, for sure. It just shows you that this team is like, you know, very deep, and any given day somebody could step up, and that day was Madison's day to step up. So I mean, it's not saying that that's going to be the same. And same on the guys side. I feel like we're so interchangeable. That's a good thing. You know, not everybody's. It's not going to be the same person each time. So that's a really good thing to have when multiple people can step up.
Yeah, because I remember talking to Coach after the race and stuff about the women's side, because, you know, we were warming up and kind of getting ready for our own thing, too. And we were watching them when we could, and I was like, so how did the women do it? And he was kind of giving me the rundown, and when he said, like, Riley had gotten 5th, I was like, well, is she good? He was like, yeah, she was just, you know, it's first race, it's Rust Busters, so, you know, that kind of stuff does happen. And on the guys' side, too, I thought our chemistry was really, really good. So, because bringing in 2 transfers, you know, you bring 2 people into a team that already knows, has a formula, a plan that we like to work with, and then bringing them in, it's felt really seamless so far. And to just have them racing with us, it was a lot of fun, too. I thought that they worked really well with us, and, like, I'm really excited to see, like, how we all progress in the next 2 years together.
Yeah, and even, like, going back to the girls' side, like, another runner, Cassie Lagan, you know, she finished 6th on the team, and she got 2nd at conference last year in cross country, and Riley got 4th. So you got 2 girls that finished 5th and 6th on this past meet, and they got 2nd and 4th. They're all conference girls. So I mean, you know, it's just, like I said, cool to see that the team is deep, and I really think that they're going to have a good season. It's a really good start. So it'll be interesting to see how, you know, they progress and stuff like that, because like I said, being so interchangeable is a good thing. You're just not relying on the same person each time. Everybody wants to step up, and I really like the way I saw that the girls were able to, you know, step up. I feel like in years past, it's kind of weird, but you weren't here for this, but I feel like there was times where girls were like, not want to push each other as much. Like, they'd be like, oh, I mean, she's in front of me, like, I'm not trying to beat her or anything like that. I feel like a little bit of a competitive spirit where it's like, if somebody's not having the greatest day, you know, try to pick up that slack and stuff like that. And I think that's what this team is doing, and that's what's making them different from years past. And I really think they're going to have a really good year. And I think if they keep that same energy and same mentality, that they'll, you know, probably have one of their best conference finishes and, you know, hopefully regional finishes in the past couple of years. Absolutely.
And with as young as they are too, like, just seeing them step up like the way they did was really, really impressive. Like, they've made leaps and bounds over the years too, and it's good. Like, I know Bergamy's got to be sitting there thinking, like, all right, cool stuff. Like, one of our older, more experienced girls, just because everybody's human, is having just kind of a day, that I know that we have 3 young girls that can step up, and then a veteran in Caroline who will always provide good depth. That's got to be comforting as a coach, especially going into the season and into the postseason too, when it gets real nitty gritty.
Well, no, y'all were talking about Riley. I remember last year, because I was in sports comm with her, with Bola, and that was her first semester here at AU, and like, she was coming back into class, like, she was always setting a PR every single week. And I remember that at the conference last year when she got 4th, like, that was her PR. So I mean, like you were saying, like, she got 5th, but she progressed all last season. So like, I mean, if she's starting off at 5th, I think that's a great, or 5th on y'all's team, you know, I think that's a great starting point. And like you were saying, like, the leadership, to how she's definitely the type of person to, like, pick others up and to push them to want to be better. So I think the y'all's team is in a good spot. I definitely think that the girls' team is in a good spot too, as well, going down the stretch and getting into the season. You're listening to the Sports Squad from Bellringer Phoenix Media. I think we'll switch it over to volleyball now, Rachel. You know, the team, they just played in the Bahama House Labor Day Classic. Yeah, it's a little bit of a mouthful, but you know, they went 1-3 in Daytona Beach, Florida. So talk to us about that and what all you know about the outing.
It didn't go, you know, they didn't win every match, and that's expected. That's normal. They typically, first 2 weekends, you know, are not always the cleanest for them. But I think now, coming out of last season, they got 7 new players, 6 of which are transfers, 1 freshman out of Lakeside. You know, they're really focused more so now on building that family aspect and trying to figure each other out, figure out, you know, what works for the team, what doesn't, getting used to how each other plays and really learning to trust each other. So I think that's kind of the focus right now. But they went down to Daytona Beach, like you said. They competed with Drury University first off. That was 3-0. They did win that first one. It was a very close match, but they were able to take that one, but kind of fell off near the end. I mean, like we said, it's not about winning all of them right now. But so Embry-Riddle University, it was a loss 1-3. Wingate, which is that was the most highly anticipated game because last season they were number 1 seed of regionals. AU was number 2. So there's some competition there. It was a very close game. AU won the first 2 sets 25-23, then kind of let it slide, the next 2 sets was 19-25, last one 11-15. So it was a very close game, I think, but Wingate is a big team, a big program. So we saw that coming. But then Emmanuel College was lost 0-3, which we didn't really expect. But I mean, into the tournament, you're tired, you're ready to go home. I mean, Daytona Beach is far. So, I think that's expected. But I think this season overall for the team is going to be really exciting, really interesting. We have a lot of new talent, a lot of people from all over. I mean, you got, I think it's 3 JUCO players, 3 Division I athletes coming into the team, and then you got the freshman Madeline Klein from Lakeside. I think lots of new talent on the squad and lots of really exciting matches coming up. I think next weekend they'll be in Aiken for the Pacer Invitational, and they'll play against North Greenville first, which we're undefeated against, which will be a really cool game to see. And then we got Carson Newman University, which they're a little bit more competitive, a little bit harder for AU to match up against. But then Saturday, you got Lenore Ryan University, and then Belmont Abbey College Saturday afternoon, which, again, undefeated against. So I think it'll be a really, really interesting season. But, the thing about AU, they progress great over the season. They really get better, get stronger as they, get to figure out what works, what doesn't, the different moves to pull out and different things. So I think it'll be a really, really exciting season to watch. So
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we were talking about this beforehand, but I mean, when you're bringing in all these new players, and I think like Coach said when she was on here, but probably about a month ago, I mean, she has a player at every position. There's so many new players. You're trying to get all these new players. I think it was 7 total. You're trying to get all the new players and all the existing players previously to kind of gel, and you're trying to get that pretty quickly because so volleyball season, it starts quick.
Right.
You don't have, it's not like basketball where you got like a couple months to bond. It's not like golf, or I guess golf while you're playing, but those spring sports where you got some time. And I know you see 1 and 3 over the weekend down in Florida, and you're like, oh gosh, that's not that good. But I mean, I think that it doesn't necessarily count as much as like the regular season. So I think that's more like you're just trying to test, feel out what you got, what you need to work on. So I think that this is a good learner. I am shocked about the Emmanuel College thing. That definitely 03 there is definitely shocking. But I mean, like you said, I mean, you were there a couple days. You're just ready to get out of there at that point. But I don't think it's anything to worry about because this team is loaded with talent. When I tell you they're loaded, they are loaded.
Yes.
So if you haven't watched them, you definitely need to get out to Christenberry and watch them very soon. And you'll see Rachel there because she films the games.
That's right.
Carlos, I'd say we move on to men's golf. Tell us a little bit about the Marquette Intercollegiate thing that they just played at this past weekend.
Yeah, so the men's golf team finished 7 out of 12 teams. As a team, they shot 26 over. UT Chattanooga won the event as 11 over, 3 shots ahead of California Berkeley. But yeah, the team, they finished behind Marquette, but they did finish ahead of Penn State, Nevada, UC Davis, Wisconsin, and Dayton. And just kind of starting off, it's just funny just seeing that we're finishing the teams against like Penn State and stuff like that. Seeing Augusta in front of a team like Penn State, Wisconsin, like these bigger schools, is kind of cool to see that. Like obviously, you see those schools. That's a Big Ten schools right there. So I mean, it's cool to see that we're able to compete with these other programs that are have really big athletic departments. So I thought that was pretty cool to that we're not just like at the bottom of the barrel. We're beating other Power 5 teams and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. But just for the team overall, star sophomore, Stephen Jacobs, who we had last year, come on. He finished tied to 8th, shooting 1 over par. So I think he's going to have a really good season. I think that's somebody that the team's going to really rely on, him and Ben Haynes, who was also a really good freshman last year. So I think those two will be the glue of the team just because they're one of the 2 youngest players on the team. And I think if they stay in this program, they'll really develop and really make this program what it is. But the team also did bring in some grad transfers. They brought in Cole Stevens, who's from Point University, who finished 16th. They also brought in a transfer from Memphis, Ryan Vanderklis. So I think that's cool to have just some grad students to have some experience along with these sophomores. I really think build the team overall, just to have a little bit of experience, a little bit of a youth, but I think that kind of blends in together well, and kind of hopefully mentor them, but also have a really great outcome. But like I said, Haynes and Jacobs I think will be that glue for the team. Hopefully they stay on the team, because I feel like that's one thing that's been common with the past, guys leaving to go to bigger schools. CJ Fun Vake was a sophomore last year on the team, and he just transferred to University of Toledo. So, hopefully just keeping guys in the program, I think, is what's going to really build this program. And like I said, I feel like guys like Stefan and Ben is the guys that you really need to build around, and kind of just build around them, and hopefully keep them around, just because I think that's going to be the success around the program, and build the program for years to come.
Yeah, I think that with those two specifically, those two are, recruited by Payne. Those are his guys. So hopefully, he's got a little bit more pull on them to get him to stay. And like you were saying, you were saying it was pretty cool to see AU finish above Penn State and Wisconsin, all the other schools. It really is, because I remember last year they were finishing, when they were going and playing these tournaments in the early fall, they were getting 13th, 14th, which is second to last. So I think if you're starting at 8th, which is around middle of the pack, close to it, I think that's a great starting point compared to last year, because it's you're not having to get over that mental battle in your head, because golf is a really big mental game. Because my friend Jack Vajda, who was on the team last year, said that was a big thing for them, is the mental side of golf. So I think that that's probably good for them to start at this point earlier than last year. So I think that tournament in Marquette was a pretty good stepping stone to go further into the season and use that as motivation going forward. You're listening to the Sports Squad from Bell Ringer Phoenix Media. Carlos, another thing I wanted to ask you was the schedule for men's basketball has recently come out. It's a whole new team this year, but we won't talk about that. But we can a little bit if you want. But I just wanted to see if you wanted to talk about the new schedule that's coming up, and anything that you're looking forward to for the team, and circle some matchups that you think is going to be tough, or what we're looking at this season.
Obviously, they opened up the season with an exhibition game against Georgia Southern, October 20th. It's a really cool game to open up with. Unfortunately, I won't be able to go to, just because it's the day before our conference meet, so I'm kind of bummed that it's scheduled for that day, because I was really looking forward to that. But I think it's cool because, David Vitti, senior on the team, who will get to go back to his old school where he transferred from. So I think that's cool. He gets to play them. I kind of wish that they would have scheduled this last year, because I wish I would have seen Tyshawn Crawford, be able to play them, because he was also from Georgia Southern. But I think it was with those Division I teams that were kind of scared to play against, the teams from last year and the year before that, just because how dominant, the team was the past couple of years. And I feel like now that, that senior class from last year is gone, it's more okay, we'll play y'all now and stuff like that. I guess Georgia Southern also does have a new coaching staff. They hired one of the Alabama assistants, so I think that he might be open more to that too. So, but no, I think it's cool that they'll get to play Division I team. It's always cool when a D2 team can play against a Division I team, and we haven't done that here in a bunch of years. I think the last time we did it was when they beat South Carolina back in 2018, so none of us were students here. So, that's kind of crazy to see that the last time we played a Division I opponent was that long ago. But, no, that's cool to see that. I'm excited to see some of the new guys on the team. They got that center transfer from St. Bonaventure, Max and Madison. It's technically kind of going to be Tyshawn's replacement, so it'll be kind of cool to see how he kind of fits into the team. They got a couple of freshmen that are looking good, some transfers as well. I'm really excited to see how Chris Britt pans out. He had a really good freshman year last year. He's an undersized guard, but he doesn't play like it. He plays like he's been there before and stuff like that. So I really love his energy. So I'm excited to see him play, especially having I think he's going to have a big year too. I expect him being in that starting lineup just because how physical and just the energy he brings. Always excited to see Jaquez Kirby just because of his athleticism. I think, as somebody that's a fan favorite in Christenberry Fieldhouse, just because he's the one that's going to throw down those crazy dunks and stuff like that and get everybody hyped. So, hopefully he has a healthy season, because I know last year he kind of had some ankle injuries and stuff like that. So there was times where he wasn't, performing those highlight plays and stuff like that. But, I'm excited to see how the team pans out and stuff like that, because obviously that's my favorite basketball season when it comes through. So I'm always in the gym and stuff. So I'm hoping for a good season. I'm ready to see matchups for them against Aiken, because I think Aiken's probably going to come in as a favorite to win the conference, just because they made it to the regional final last year. They beat us 3 times last year. And I think they didn't really lose anybody. I think they might have lost one guy that transferred to a Division I school, but for the most part, it looked like they were bringing back everybody. So I think that would be a challenge. But I'm ready to see how the team takes on the challenge of playing their first season without the Fantastic Four from last year.
Yeah. What do you think about North Georgia? And
North Georgia's a good team too. Because they brought back PVC Player of the Year. What's his name? Frank Champion.
Yeah.
Frank
I was trying to remember his name.
So
Yeah.
I mean, they brought him back, and obviously, him and Tyshawn had a couple battles that were good last year. I think he'll be dominant. I still think UCA can probably be the favorite going into it. With North Georgia probably second. I'd say, they probably put Augusta third, or I wouldn't be surprised if somebody votes him fourth or anything like that. But I could see top three right now. But hopefully, they over exceed the expectations and stuff like that. And who knows if they are able to compete with Aiken and stuff like that. I hope so. I honestly would love to see that, just because, like I said, people are probably looking at this year being a rebuild year and not really expecting much out of Augusta. But it'll be cool to see if they're able to bring home another conference championship. I'd love to see that.
Everybody at Augusta would love to see that too, I bet.
Yes.
All right, Patrick, we're going to wrap up the show here with a little bit of the Braves talk. You got your Braves hat on, and
I do.
After the weekend that they just had, I can tell you probably want to say a little bit about the team. So I think we'll just limit it to the Dodgers series. How about that?
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah.
Braves, they played the Dodgers in a 4-game series over the weekend. They beat them 3 games, 3 out of the 4 games. Talk about how you feel right now as a Braves fan and what you saw that you liked over the weekend.
Oh, I think as a Braves fan and the rest of Braves country is extremely happy right now.
Oh, I'm ecstatic.
It was great to see that. Wow, that was phenomenal to see. Because there was like 2 nights when we took the first 2 games, they were like, I was like, oh, we're definitely gonna lose this one. They're gonna lose it, and then they didn't. And then, gosh, I don't even know. The only tough thing is that they were like late games too. So.
You have to stay up to watch them. But I definitely enjoyed the matchup between Acuna and Betts, because like we were talking about, it was gonna. I don't know if it was gonna be decided through the series. I still don't think it has been, but I think people were getting so high on the Mookie Betts train for winning the MVP, and I feel like Acuna through the series kind of reminded people like, hey. I've been the front runner for the MVP this entire year, and I'm still that guy. So don't forget about me.
Yeah, he had a grand slam.
He hit 3 home runs in 3 games, in the first 3 games.
30-60.
And then he hit that home run. That's the 3rd hardest hit home run in the StatCast.
Did you see that
like
picture where Mookie was like, he had that look on his face?
Look on his face.
Yeah, and I was like,
There was also a picture that I saw where it was Freddie. It was like the cameraman got the perfect shot of Freddie Freeman with a frown on his face, looking at the ball. Go out of the ballpark
shaking
while
his
Acuna
head.
was like bat flipping. I loved that.
That was great. That was the money shot right there.
It was. I liked our pitching matchups all around. The Dodgers, even though we were up 6, even though the Braves were up 6 runs a couple times in the series, Dodgers never really went away. You had Colton Wong hit a 3-run bomb. You had Mookie Betts hit 2 bombs in the first game to keep him in it.
Saturday night? Yeah, I remember watching. I was like, he's going to hit a 3-run moonshot. Boom, right field 3-run moonshot.
It was definitely one of those things where I was always stressed out that they were going to come back and win, but the Braves did what they were supposed to do, and they shut the door. So
they did,
and that was something I love to see, because I think they were saying that the Braves hadn't went to Dodger Stadium and won a series there in 14 years.
It's been a while.
Yeah, and I was 8. Last time that happened. So it's been a while, Rachel. It's been a while. It's been a
very long time.
It's been a while. So this is a great time in Braves country.
And they did really well against the Rockies too. So
it was a great weekend all around.
Good West Coast trip.
It was 8-2, 7-3, 8-2 trip, 7-3, something like that. Because we swept the Rockies, beat the Dodgers 3 times. That's 6, and then they beat the Giants twice. Is that 8-2?
I think so.
It's 8-2. It's either 8-2 or 7-3. So that's a pretty good.
Right.
That's a pretty good trip if you ask me. But if you're listening to this and you think Mookie Betts is still the MVP, I think you're dead wrong. Because
I think you need to schedule an appointment with your local doctor as soon as you can.
30 bombs, 60 stolen bases. No one's ever done that in the history of Major League Baseball. And this is a sport that goes all the way back to the 1800s. So
yeah, I think if you think that Mookie is in the front running, I think you need to call your local doctor and schedule an appointment right away, because you're not doing right. You need some help.
That's what I'm saying. And I liked how I feel like Spencer Strider's really solidified himself as the front runner for the NL Cy Young. Either him or Blake Snell at this point. Zach Gallen has had
Max Fried
threw
an amazing game.
7 innings of beautiful
an amazing
baseball.
game.
Beautiful baseball.
Yes.
You love to see that.
Oh my goodness, it was wonderful to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. Seeing that curveball, which he mirrors after Sandy Koufax's curveball, who's a Dodger. So I mean, he's an LA kid, and so that's how he performed against his hometown team. And I'm really hoping that we sign him long term, and he can be doing that for a lot more years. Because if not, then
I'm
gonna
really
go
sad.
cry
a river.
All right, but I mean, we're the first team to 90 wins, first in our division, still holding that number one spot for home field advantage for
three-game win.
Whoever has to play us in the NLDS,
that was big
NLCS.
in the money jackpot right there for securing the number one spot.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and we got one more month left of baseball, and I'm just hoping that the Braves, they just get to the finish line, they finish strong, they take their break, and they don't get beat in the NLDS like last year, and they got just. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about what happened with the Phillies.
I don't think about that.
But, I think that this past weekend was a great momentum booster, confidence booster for them.
Absolutely.
And if they can just wipe out whatever happened last night with the Cardinals and just move on.
Man, that's West Coast trip. Unfortunately, Mike Soroka didn't pitch too well. It'll be all right. I think they take the rest of the series, just give them a night's rest. They've been on the road for 10 or 12 days, it almost seemed like. Give them a night.
Yep. You just got to give them a night. That's why.
And then at the end of the game, they started really picking it up too. So,
Yeah, and Matt Olson hit a bomb, so now he's at 45.
Matt
he's
Olson,
only
Austin Riley,
he's only six. He's only 6 away from tying Andrew Jones' record from us in a Braves uniform. So
how's he sitting right now in home run lead? Is he
still ahead? He's still ahead.
Okay.
Pete Alonso is coming up quick though, because I think he's at 42 now.
We don't like Pete Alonso.
We don't. So. It's definitely scary, but it's good. As a Braves fan, me personally, I am excited. I don't know how you couldn't be. All right, well, that's going to be it for today's show. Thank you for listening. Thanks to our panelists for being on our podcast, Carlos Rodriguez, Patrick Motes, and Rachel Carmen. Special thanks to you, Rachel, since this is your first one. We'll be back soon with another episode. The Sports Squad is a production of the Bell Ringer Phoenix Media. The producer today was Ethan Balducci. As always, Ethan, thank you. We appreciate it. The opinions that are stated here are those of the individuals and not Augusta University. You can find us at aubellringer.com, on the Augusta Press website, on Spotify, and on social media. So please send your comments to bellringerproduction@gmail.com. Have a great day and listen again soon. This is Joshua Picklesheimer saying so long. We're out.